I've been part of a team that's gone on to win 3 in a row. It's crazy, really, and you kind of forget about it sometimes.
Like all the guys that I played with growing up through the years, like we're all still friends and everything. So it really is like it's a good family sense and a good community sense.
We had won in All Ireland in 97, 99, 2000. It's more local at your club. You know everyone, you know the setup. It's different than joining a county panel.
It was nearly like a kind of statement to say, we're here, we're ready to play. No one's going to push us over this year.
This podcast is sponsored by Declan Kirby GAA Star. Declan Kirby GAA Star is a children's GAA book written by primary school teacher and GAA coach Michael Egan. Follow the trials and tribulations of Declan Kirby and his team at Smithgreen Gaelic Football Club. The book is a very good read for any parents who are looking to get their children involved in Gaelic games. The book is available in Easons, Lidl and all good bookshops. It's also available to download on Amazon, so make sure to go and check it out. They're very good supporters of the channel and the page, so you'd certainly be doing me a good favour as well if you went ahead and checked the book out. So I do very much appreciate it. The link is in the description down below, and let's get straight into it. Okay, so welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. I'm delighted to be joined here by Shaun Casey from the Sideline podcast. We're here to preview this weekend's Armagh Senior Football Championship Final between Crossmaglen Rangers and Clann Eireann. Suppose first of all, Shaun, how's things for yourself?
Yeah, good, Aaron. It's been a busy last few months, covering all the senior championship action in Armagh and all the action in Armagh. So this is the last game left between the two best teams. Obviously in Armagh, you've Crossmaglen. They're trying to get back their title that they lost last year, while Clann Eireann, this is the first time they've been in a final in 53 years. So yeah, it's been good building up to the game. It's hopefully going to be a good game on Sunday.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it myself, all right, as well, because it's I suppose it's a fascinating game, really. Like a lot of storylines really going into it. Clann Eireann haven't won a title, I believe, in 50 odd years, and obviously Crossmaglen Rangers, like, I mean, they've won probably nearly like most of the county titles in probably both their lifetimes. So like it's going to be a very fascinating game nonetheless, and it should make for some viewing.
Yeah, the first of Crossmaglen's big run was in 96, and that's actually the year I was born. So there's only been 3 years that since that time, 4 years since that time that Crossmaglen haven't won the championship. They made the final last year. Mahari beat them in the final, and it was the first time they'd lost the final in 1982 since 1982. So that probably is a big motivator for them this weekend. That they don't like losing finals, never mind losing 2 in a row. So it's definitely an interesting matchup, because Clann Eireann, as you said, Aaron, it's been 53 years since they were in a final. It's 58 since they won one. So there's a lot of it's nice to have a new team rising up to challenge Crossmaglen. Mahari done so. They beat Cross last year. Ballymacnabb were challenging them for a couple of years. The Harps and Cullyhanna a couple of years before that. So yeah, Clann Eireann are a new team. They're rising up. There's a lot of underage success in Armagh. A lot of their players have minor championship medals, under 21 championship medals. So yeah, it makes it an intriguing tie, and it's obviously an exciting one to look forward to.
Yeah, and I suppose for people who aren't aware, like obviously your own website and your own podcast is dedicated to all things Armagh GAA, like not just football, but hurling and match reports, camogie, ladies football, everything. So you would have watched probably more Armagh senior football games than most people. So like, what's the Armagh Football Championship been like this year in general? Because I suppose a lot of people probably haven't got to see it that much. I don't know. I don't think there's been any games broadcasted on RTE or TG Caher or anything like that. So I suppose what's the quality been like? And I suppose was like the build up and everything else, because looking through some of the scores anyway, it looks like you definitely had some cracking games, and from reading different match reports as well.
Yeah, well, we're lucky enough in Armagh. We would have a good streaming service, Armagh TV, and they would stream a lot of the games and a lot of the senior games. I'm lucky enough. I've been at all Crossmaglen's games, and I've been at all Clann Eireann's games throughout the championship. So I get a good grasp of them throughout the championship. I suppose the big thing coming into this championship was that it was open. There was going to be 5, 6, 7 teams that really felt they could have a go at the championship and go on and win it. I mentioned some of the stronger teams in Armagh throughout the last number of years, and then you have the likes of Clann Eireann rising up, Cleavey are on the rise, Modden are on the rise. So it was going to be an open championship, and the way it has played out, Crossmaglen obviously always at this stage of the season, they're always making the finals in round the business end of the year. But for Clann Eireann to come through, they've beaten Ballymacnabb and Mohray, who were probably the two favourites, apart from Crossmaglen heading into the championship. So Clann Eireann are definitely there on merit. They've been very impressive in how they've got to the final. I mentioned the couple of young boys that have a couple of young teams they had in recent years. Them boys are all now playing senior football for the last 2 or 3 years. They've gained a wee bit of experience. In terms of the overall quality, yeah, it's been enjoyable. It's been an enjoyable, 6 or 8 weeks or however long it has lasted. There's been some cracking games in it. Probably Clann Eireann and Ballymacnabb, the semi-final was top of that list. It was a superb game, and Clann Eireann done enough to get over the line just about. And I suppose from a Crossmaglen point of view, they're obviously always the favourites heading into every game, and they've done pretty well. They've probably improved in every single game they've played this year. They've come from the preliminary round to beat Clann Gael, and they've just steadily improved, and now it's shaping up for a big day now on Sunday.
Yeah, and was the general consensus coming into this year that Crossmaglen Rangers were the favourites? I suppose every year probably they're probably going in as favourites, but was the general consensus that they were heavy favourites, or was there a feeling maybe that they might get caught like what they done last year?
Yeah, no, there's definitely a feeling that they're probably still the best team in Armagh, but that they're not as dominant as they used to be. And that's probably the feeling throughout Armagh. They met Clann Gael in the first round of the championship, and Clann Gael had only come up from intermediate, having won it last year. And this was Clann Gael's first senior championship game in 10 years. So while Crossmaglen were there were 6 or 7 points ahead near the end of the game, but Clann Gael got a goal with about 5 or 10 minutes left, and really asked serious questions of Crossmaglen. But while Cross are always the favourites, there was a sense maybe that they were there for the taking this year, or certainly that they maybe weren't as good as years gone by. But as it has proved, Crossmaglen, they're still the best team in the county, and that will still be the case heading into the game on Sunday. And whether Clann Eireann can turn the tide or not, I'm just not sure. But they're just not as dominant possibly as they used to be. But if they win on Sunday, this will be their third county championship in 4 years, so that would signal maybe a new era of dominance. So there is a feeling there that they're not the great team they used to be, but they're still winning all their games, and they're still the heavy favourites.
Yeah, interesting. I suppose you said first time they met each other in 10 years. I can imagine probably both sets of players probably aren't too familiar with each other. I don't know if they would have went up against each other too much at underage level or under 20 level, but would there be much familiarity, do you think, between the two? I don't know, maybe some of the players probably familiar in the county or something to that effect. Sorry,
that was actually Clann Gael who the Cross met in the first round.
Okay, yeah.
Their Lurgan team. In terms of Clann Eireann, yeah, haven't met much in senior level. They've met in, I think it was 2019. Armagh had a group stage championship, while they've reverted to a knockout the last 2 years, basically because of COVID and the fixture schedule and stuff. But there was group stages, and Crossmaglen won that game heavily, and they won very easily. And a couple of years before that, probably about 2016, it was the same story, that they beat Clann Eireann very easily. I think they beat them that day, won 23 to 10 points or something. But that was this young Clann Eireann team that we've sort of been building up, that they were just finding their feet at senior level. They've now got that bit of experience under them, and you would expect a closer game coming up this week. I suppose in terms of underage, Clann Eireann and Cross, along with Cleavey, have been sort of the dominant teams the last couple of years, and then Clann Gael are on the rise as well. A lot of these Clann Eireann boys have probably beaten Crossmaglen at minor under 20 level, so that will probably give them a good bit of confidence heading into Sunday's game.
Absolutely, yeah. In terms of Crossmaglen, have they even made too many changes to their team this year from previous years? Have they introduced many new young players around like that? Because I know obviously they've a whole host of phenomenal names like Rian O'Neill and Oisin O'Neill and Keema Conville's obviously coming in there as well. So has there been any new additions to the team that I suppose would excite not just Crossmaglen fans, but maybe even Armagh fans as well?
Yeah, well, I think we've only one new guy into the starting team. Is Keelan Finnegan. He would be a corner forward. He's a county minor last year as well. He got their goal in the semi-final to beat Silverbridge, and they have a couple other young fellas. Ronan Fitzpatrick, he'd be the same age as Keelan Finnegan. He started the earlier rounds. He didn't start the semi-final. Darragh O'Callaghan as well made his debut last year and had a superb opening season last year. Maybe hasn't hit those heights this year again, but he's definitely one that Armagh fans will be excited about over the next few years. And I suppose they have a cornerback, Tony O'Callaghan, who would have burst onto the scene last year and had a very good season. He's back in their defence. So they do have a couple of young boys, but it's probably more the O'Neills, the Kiernans, James Morgan, Cian McConville that's really driving them on this year and have got them to the final.
And how was it, do you think they ended up getting caught, I suppose, against Mahary last year? Because I suppose a lot of people would have had Crossmaglen as favourites going into that final as well. Like, they were going for 3 in a row. Like, and I suppose, do you think even that's maybe even motivated them a little bit this year as well, I suppose, to right that wrong from what happened last year?
Yeah, they're definitely coming in as a wounded animal this year. There's no doubt about it. Crossmaglen, as I said, don't like losing finals, and they're not even entertain the notion of losing 2 in a row. But I suppose, how did Mahary beat them last year? If there's a weakness in Crossmaglen, or if there's a question mark, it's probably their full back line. While James Morgan could go back in there on Sunday, he's been playing centre half back all year and he's been superb breaking forward, and his powerful runs forward have been nearly unstoppable this year. But Mahary put a big man on the edge of the square, Ronan Lappin, and he wreaked havoc basically, and he got the last goal, a long ball in from Stephen Falker, and Lappin punched it to the net, and that sort of confirmed the victory for Mahary. But Mahary have some superb players as well, and they were managed by former Armagh defender Finian Moriarty, and he's a meticulous coach. He really done his homework on Crossmaglen and found a couple of their real weaknesses, and obviously it paid dividends in the end. But I suppose it's goals win games, and that's how Mahary got over the line last year. They got 4 goals, 2 either side of half time, and Clann Eireann going into this game, they'll obviously be targeting that full back line across and trying to move the ball quickly to their good forwards, the likes of Tiernan Kelly and Connor Turbot, who you probably know from Armagh this year. Tiernan Kelly burst onto the scene with a couple of goals in the Ulster Championship, and Connor Turbot was the same. So if they can move the ball quick and fast into them, there could be goals in that Clann Eireann forward line, and I suppose that's the best way, or the only way maybe you're going to beat Crossmaglen. You need to get goals.
And do they still have that aura about them as well, Crossmaglen, and in terms of obviously the big names, the star names? Is that fear factor even still there for a lot of the sides that would come up against Crossmaglen, or like what you said, maybe they feel that this is a great opportunity to beat them?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much a fear factor anymore, but there definitely is the black and amber jersey. There's something about it that when you take the field, it maybe brings a bit of pressure. I had Stephen Cusack on my own podcast this week, and he played for Mahary last year, and he sort of made the case that when you're playing in the championship final, it adds a wee bit of spice to be playing Crossmaglen. You know, if you're going to win the Armagh Championship, you don't want it thrown at you, oh well, you didn't beat Cross. You know, if you're going to win, a beat Cross, and that's the way it's always been. I suppose it's like in All Ireland, if you're going to win it, you want to beat Dublin or you want to beat Kerry. It's the exact same with Crossmaglen. There is a wee bit of an aura probably about them when you run out onto the field and you see that black and amber jersey, whether it's pressure or excitement, whatever it is, I'm not sure, but it does add a wee bit to the occasion. And definitely Clann Eireann, I'd say if they're going to win on Sunday, they'd want to be beating Crossmaglen. That's probably the dream for every club in Armagh, is to beat Crossmaglen and to beat them in the final.
Yeah, I suppose it's that rivalry element of it as well, and I suppose for the next time they meet then as well, like you're going to have that, you have that one up over on them. And I suppose in terms as well, like what areas of the pitch could you see Crossmaglen, I suppose, causing the most kind of problems for Clann Eireann? Like, to be perfectly honest, I don't know too much about them. In all honesty, obviously there's a whole host of club games going on all across the country, so you don't get to see too much about them. But in terms of like what kind of problems do you think they could cause them, I suppose, going into this final?
Yeah, it's the forward line. It's the two O'Neills and McConville. Rian has been playing midfield, Oisín at centre half forward, and Cian McConville then at full forward. But the interchange that the Rian can go in full forward at times, Oisín come out to the middle of the field, Cian McConville will come out to centre half forward. You know, they're interchangeable. That trio is really, when they're on form, they're unstoppable. And I suppose the fear for Clann Eireann is Rian O'Neill has played in 3 county finals now, and he's got Monaghan Match in 2 of them, and he was very good last year as well. So Rian O'Neill doesn't have bad finals. He's the top scorer in the club championship at the minute with 316 in 4 games. Cian McConville's the second top scorer with 22 points. So yeah, if Clann Eireann's going to have a chance, they have to shut down that 3, and it's easier said than done, and I'm not sure how they go about it. They do have some good man markers. Clann Eireann, a couple of boys, Barry McCambridge would be on the county panel at the minute, along with Tiernan Kelly. Tiernan Kelly probably match up with Rian O'Neill in midfield. Barry McCambridge at centre half back will probably go Oisín O'Neill, and inside their captain Shay Heffron, who would have been an Armagh player a couple of years ago. He'll probably match up with Cian McConville, but as I say, they're interchangeable. It's going to be hard to tie the 3 of them down, and if you're going to beat Crossmaglen, you have to limit the 3 of them, and limiting 1 is tough. Limiting 3 of them's probably impossible.
Yeah, like looking at Clann Eireann in particular, like what we were saying earlier, some story with them obviously in terms of 53 years since they've been to a county final, 58 years since they've won one. So I suppose to get to the final and have that moment, and now going up against the great Crossmaglen, like some occasion for them going into this final, and I imagine there's some buzz around that club at the moment.
Yeah, there's good excitement around Lurgan. Like, they've been waiting a couple of years for this team to come, and probably over the next decade or so, if they don't win on Sunday, they're definitely going to win a senior championship at some stage. That's how good they are, and that's how many good players they have coming through over the next few years. But yeah, serious excitement. They felt maybe last year that they should have beat Mahari. They played Mahari in the quarter final of the championship, and the game went to extra time, and Mahari just about got over the line. They won by a point, but Clann Eireann would have felt that they should have won that game, and they probably should have. And this year they didn't make the same mistake. We made sure that they beat Mahari. Then they met Ballymacnabb in the semi-final, and again with about 5 minutes left, Ballymacnabb had went a point ahead, and Clann Eireann had been playing the better football, and maybe in another year would have folded, but no, they got the last 3 points of the game to win by 2 points. So yeah, they're definitely, there's a lot of excitement around Lurgan, around Clann Eireann, but I suppose you don't want to be getting too hyped of just making a final. Clann Eireann will want to make sure that they're there on merit. They're the second best team in the county, going by how the championship is panned out, and they're going to want to put on a show and make sure that they can do their best to win the championship as well.
Is there a certain element maybe of pressure on them as well, to a certain extent? Because I know even sometimes you see it here in Dublin as well with certain clubs where they have all this underage success and they've all these players coming through, and you're kind of waiting for that big moment to happen, and sometimes it doesn't happen. Like, there's plenty of clubs in the past that have had loads of underage success, won loads of failures, and just not had the same success at senior level. So is there that maybe kind of, I suppose, expectation or pressure on them in this final as well to finally make that breakthrough and get over the line?
I think this is probably the first game this year that there's no pressure on Clann Eireann, because you were always waiting for them to beat a big team, and they finally done that by beating Mahari. Then they had to play Ballymacnabb, another big team. So were they going to be fit to live up to the hype after beating Mahari? And they did that. Heading into Crossmaglen, because they haven't had the experience of playing in a final. Obviously, as I said, it's 53 years since they were lost in the final. There's probably no pressure on them. Crossmaglen will be favourites, and while most people think that Clann Eireann will push Crossmaglen close and definitely have enough good players to cause Crossmaglen bother, I don't think anybody's really come out and said confidently that Clann Eireann are going to win this one. So maybe if they give a good performance this year, there's going to be a bit of pressure on them next year to replicate that. But I do think this is the one game so far this year there's actually no pressure on them.
Who could you see in that kind of element then, I suppose, in terms of like who could be their biggest threat for Crossmaglen, or what kind of players like should people watch out for in this game?
Yeah, as I mentioned, Connor Turbot, he's only 22, 23 years of age. He's a serious forward. He come on for Armagh. Last year, I think he made his debut, and he come on a couple of times in the league and championship this year as well. Tiernan Kelly, as I mentioned, he made his debut against Donegal this year and come on and scored a goal. And he also come on against Antrim and Monaghan in the championship and scored a goal in each of them games as well. So they're probably the two standout players attacking wise. I mentioned Barry McCambridge there as well. He's a super player. He plays full back. Well, he was number 3, but he'll probably play centre half back or midfield. He scored 1-1 against Ballymacnabb the last day out. He's a serious talent, and the likes of him and Tiernan Kelly have serious pace pushing forward from midfield. And it'll be Connor Turbot, Turbo they call him, inside. He'll be the one that Crossmaglen's going to be most afraid of in that full forward line for Clann Eireann.
Yeah, he's a quality footballer as well, Connor Turbo. I've seen a good bit of him all right for Armagh right during the championship and the league, like, and I suppose like definitely tons of talent, no doubt about it. Like, and he's definitely, I suppose, not one to watch out for in this game, but possibly for the future as well for Armagh, kind of going into next year, like.
Yeah, and Armagh are lucky enough to actually have a good forward line. Like they've maybe 6, 7, or 8 really top class forwards, and he's coming into that as well. Like Connor Turbot, again, was seen as a promising minor in under 20, and he's broke onto the scene quite well now. And he's still quite young, but over the next 5 or 6 years, Connor Turbot's going to be a big name for Armagh and hopefully for their field as well. He'll get the recognition he deserves. He's a super player.
And I suppose like if Clann Eireann were to go off and pull off this big shock and get this win over Crossmaglen, like where would it rank in terms of, I suppose, the big championship wins or big upsets? Like what we said, they do have plenty of talent, so maybe it wouldn't be as big as an upset as it seems. But like, where would it rank in terms of the great sort of Armagh Senior Football Championship wins or games?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like Mahari beating Cross last year, and Mahari beat Cross twice in 2017. They beat them in the first round and then met them later on through the back door as well and beat them twice in the championship. But Mahari were knocking at the door for years. The same with Cullyhanna, they beat Cross in 2016. They had been knocking at the door for a couple of years. Clann Eireann, we've been waiting for them, but as I say, this is the first year they've actually went and beat a big team. So it would be a surprise maybe, but not a massive shock if Clann Eireann were to do this. As I say, Crossmaglen are the favourites, and they're probably heavy enough favourites, but Clann Eireann definitely have enough quality in their ranks that they can come into this game and probably play without fear, without that bit of pressure. And if they do beat Crossmaglen, I personally don't think they will. I just think it's maybe a year or two too soon for them. But if they do beat Crossmaglen, it will be a shock, but maybe not as huge as people outside the county would be. They wouldn't find it as shocking as people outside the county would.
So it sounds like you're tipping Crossmaglen in that case to win the final and make it. Oh, geez, I don't know how many county titles that is now since me and you were born.
I'm not even going to bother counting up. I think if Aaron Kiernan wins on Sunday, I think it'll be his 17th or 18th county medal.
That's crazy.
Just crazy. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I'm tipping Crossmaglen. I definitely think Clann Eireann can give them trouble. I think Clann Eireann are good enough to really push them, and it won't be one-sided. But Rian O'Neill's really the difference between Crossmaglen and all the other teams in Armagh. He's been super this year. As I said, he's the top scorer, and he's played most of his time in midfield. He's just went on to another level, Rian O'Neill. And if Clann Eireann can tie him up and can stop his influence, I'm not sure they can. They maybe can limit his influence, but to stop him is just a whole nother ball game. And you've seen what Rian O'Neill can do for Armagh at county level. You've seen him against Monaghan this year. He was incredible. He's playing like that for Crossmaglen at the minute. So Rian O'Neill's really the main difference, I feel, between all the teams in Armagh. He's the one that keeps Crossmaglen ahead of the pile. And I just think if he is a good enough say on Sunday, I think he'll lead Crossmaglen to a victory.
Yeah, because I suppose Keane McConville as well, from having a look at some of the scores as well. Like, obviously, a lot of people will be familiar with that name. Obviously, the nephew of Ushie McConville. So, I mean, he looks like he's doing a great job as well. Like, to be fair to him, like with a lot of his different scores, and he might be another standout player, I'd imagine, as well.
Yeah, Keane McConville, he's sort of leading the line in the forward line, and that allows Oisín and Rian to play further out the field at times. We're waiting for Cian for a couple of years, probably when he was a minor. You were waiting for him to push through, and he played in the senior championship final in 2018 while he was still a minor. That's how good he is. He came on that day, and he started the other two finals in 19 and 20 as well. He's probably up there as one of the best forwards in Armagh that hasn't really got a crack at the county yet. He was on a training panel maybe last year or the year before, but he hasn't really broke into the squad yet. And I'd imagine after this year, looking at his scoring charts, 22 points in 4 games, he's going to get a call up at some stage. And Cian McConville, he's one of the leading lights in Armagh in terms of forwards at the minute. Like, he's 2-footed, he's very quick, very agile, and I suppose deceivingly strong as well. He doesn't look that big, but he doesn't get pushed all off the ball much either. So yeah, Cian is going to have a big say on Sunday, and again, it's another man for Clann Eireann to worry about.
Yeah, I suppose exciting times for Armagh in general. Like we said there, Keane McConville and Ross McQuillan, who came back last year, Conor Turba. Like, you're definitely not short of some top class forwards that are at the right age. Like, going into next year, I'd imagine there's a good bit of buzz there for 2022 as an Armagh man.
Yeah, definitely. But the big thing for 2021 was keeping our place in Division 1, and we done that. By doing that now, we're going to be playing the likes of Kerry and Dublin next year, which is the whole reason you want to get to Division 1 is for them occasions. But yeah, they have a lot of players around the right age now, as you mentioned them, the likes of Turbot, Ross McQuillan, Rian O'Neill. Them boys all played on the same minor team. A couple of other ones, Conor McConville, who I haven't mentioned, another from Clann Eireann, really good footballer. He was on the same minor team. So yeah, it's exciting times. And as I mentioned, there's maybe 6, 7, 8 really good forwards that are trying to get into 6 positions. So it's exciting times for Armagh. And again, the target will probably be to stay in Division 1 and obviously getting to test themselves against Kerry and Dublin and Mayo and the top teams in the country. It's exciting, and hopefully lead into a good Ulster Championship as well for them.
Perfect. So I suppose before we finish up, where can people find your own podcast anyway, the Sideline Eye? Where can people find us or looking for it?
Yeah, so you can find me everywhere. I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. My podcast was posted on Spotify and on YouTube and on my Facebook page as well. And I have my own senior championship preview coming out on Friday, so that can be found on YouTube or Spotify or Facebook. Just type in the Sideline Eye podcast and you'll find it.
Perfect, Shaun. Well, look, listen, I appreciate you coming on, and yeah, I suppose enjoy the game anyways on Sunday.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.